How's that?
Of 1993. 4 months later, UFC is, airs. How do you, from all the way from Minnesota, talk to the guys in California to get yourself even into that tournament?
It was a long and winding road. I had never even seen UFC 1. I actually hadn't even heard about it until there was an article in Black Belt magazine. One of my karate students came in one day all wild-eyed and excited and said, "You got to read this. You got to read this. This is something that you should do. This is just tailor-made for you." And he shows me this article about this thing called the Ultimate Fighting Championship and how this little skinny Brazilian guy named Royce, who, of course, after I got a little more educated, knew was Royce Gracie, won it all. And I read about it, and it really did pique my interest. And I saw in the same Black Belt magazine an advertisement saying, for looking for fighters for UFC 2. So I wrote a letter back in those days, early 1994.
You're talking about snail mail.
Yeah, snail mail on a hand typewriter, just hunting and pecking on the typewriter.
So for you kids at home, what that means is you wrote words on a piece of paper, folded it in an envelope and put an address on it, and sent it to somebody halfway across the country. Okay, sorry, go ahead, Fred. Some people don't know that.
Yeah, that's exactly the way it was. And I wrote him a letter, said, "Hey, this is who I am. This is my background. I'd really like to be a part of the next event, UFC 2." And it was late enough in the game where I got a letter back saying, "Thanks, but no thanks. The event is full. There's no need for anybody right now. If you're interested in a later event, we'll take a look at you." And so I thought, okay, that's the end of that for now anyway. And I used to teach classes Monday through Thursday in the evenings and then Saturday mornings. And then on Saturday mornings after class, I would take the students out. We'd all go out and socialize, have lunch. I did that one Saturday, less than 2 weeks before the UFC 2 was supposed to air. Came back, and it wasn't voicemail because, again, back in those days, it was an answering machine. And my light was blinking, and I hit the button. And this character named Art Davie was on the line saying, "Hey," he said, "Fred, this is Art Davie from out in California. And I just had my alternate. I had to bring him up into the main card because Ken Shamrock broke his hand. I need another alternate. Would you be interested in coming to Denver to be an alternate?" And so I ran around and got excited and tried to call Art. There was no answer. So I got a hold of, on Monday, got a hold of him directly, and we talked, and he said, "Yeah," he said, "if you want to come out here," I said, "I really need to have an alternate." And I said, "Yeah, I'd love to." I said, "Under what circumstances will I get to fight?" And he says, "Well," he said, "if everybody shows up for fight night and everybody's healthy, you won't get to fight. The only way you get to fight is if before the event," and in those days, it was always on a Friday night. If nobody shows up, or if somebody shows up and they're not ready to go, if they're sick, if they're injured before the fight, or if they are a no-show, then you get put into their slot. And I said, "Hey, well, I at least get to fight the other alternate," because when I read about UFC 1, Jason DeLuca and Trent Jenkins fought as like a preliminary fight.
Right.
He said no. He said, because it's a 16-man tournament, we're not going to have time for that. He said, so the only way you fight is if somebody doesn't show up, or if before the fights, somebody gets injured. So he FedExed me the tickets because it was not long before the event. Like I said, I want to say it was like 10, 12 days before the event. And so there I went.
Wow. Very